They found Elias Reed 3 days after the storm passed, frozen beside his horse, grasping tightly to his blown-out lantern. By then, winter had already swallowed most of the Montana Territory. Roads vanished beneath the snow. Supply wagons stopped running. Entire towns became stranded for weeks at a time. And every year, men disappeared in the mountains. Trappers, hunters, travelers. Sometimes they were found by spring, most times they were not. But stories about Elias Reed lasted longer than most, because according to the men who found him, he froze solid standing up. By 1878, Elias Reed had become the kind of man people hired when something or someone needed finding. Sometimes he tracked men who didn't want to be found. Other times, he guided travelers through passes that killed less experienced riders. The rest of the time, he drifted from town to town trying to stay ahead of the winter. People remembered him mostly because of the eye patch, and because he rarely spoke more than he needed to. Some claimed he lost the eye during the Civil War. Others blamed a grizzly somewhere north of Yellowstone. Elias never corrected either story. He simply let people wonder. The last town to see Elias alive sat near the edge of the mountains north of Bozeman. Just a few buildings, a trading post, a stable, a saloon barely warm enough to survive the winter. The storm arrived the same night Elias did. Old frontiersmen used to say you could feel bad weather before it came. The horses grow nervous, the birds disappear. Even the trees sound different in the wind. By sunset, snow had already begun falling across the valley. The trading post owner warned Elias before closing for the night. Storm's coming hard. Trail won't be there by morning. Most men would have stayed, waited for the weather to clear. But mountain passes during winter could close for weeks. And once they closed, you stayed where you were. So before sunrise, Elias saddled his horse and rode north into the mountains. At first, the trail remained visible beneath the snow. The horse moved steadily. The wind stayed calm. Nothing unusual for late November. But sometime near midday, the mountain changed. Frontiersmen described blizzards like living things. Fast, sudden, violent. One moment the world looks clear, the next the sky disappears completely. The storm hit Elias before he reached the upper ridge. Snow swallowed the trail almost immediately. The wind became so strong it pushed sideways across the mountain. Visibility vanished. No horizon, no landmark, only white. A man caught in conditions like that could lose direction within minutes, especially alone. Still, Elias kept moving. Most experienced riders did. Stopping in the open meant freezing before morning, so he pushed forward through the storm, hoping the trail would eventually reappear. But it never did. By nightfall, temperatures had likely fallen well below zero, cold enough to freeze exposed skin within minutes, cold enough to kill a man before sunrise. The dangerous part wasn't the pain, it was the exhaustion. Men freezing to death often became calm near the end, sleepy, peaceful even, like the storm slowly convincing them to lie down and rest. And once they stopped moving, the mountain usually kept them. Elias knew that, which was why he forced himself to keep walking, step after step, in waist-deep snow, leading the horse by hand when the drifts became too deep to ride through. The storm continued through the entire night, and by morning, Elias was completely lost. No trail behind him, no trail ahead, only snow. At some point during the second night, the horse finally collapsed beneath the storm. Sometime before dawn, cold finally took them both. The blizzard continued through the darkness. Ice froze across Elias' coat, face, gloves, and hat. And somewhere in the mountains, the storm slowly covered every trace of them. 3 days later, the county sheriff rode into the pass, searching for survivors. He spotted the horse first, half buried beneath the snow. Elias Reed stand beside it, frozen solid. both of them buried where the mountain finally caught them. Stories about Elias spread quickly through Montana after that winter. Some called him stubborn, others called him brave. The frontier buried thousands of men. Most were forgotten. Elias Reed was not. But every winter, storms rolled through those mountains exactly as they did in 1878. Cold, silent, unforgiving. And somewhere in Montana, old ranchers still tell the story of the one-eyed gunslinger who rode into the blizzard and froze standing up.